welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie.
And this week we're going to talk about romance novels because of Valentine's Day.
We are currently still open only for curbside, so if you see something you like, put it on hold at infosoup.org. And when you get the notification that your item is here, come to the library during our normal operating hours, and we will bring it out to you via curbside.
All right, I'm going to get us started. I'm kind of excited about this one. If you want romance, a good place to start is our little paperback collection. This is Julia Quinn called A Night Like This. If you're familiar with the Bridgerton series, which is really popular on Netflix, this is the author who the books are based on. This isn't the first one. If you want the first one, it's called The Duke and I, and that's the one that the first series of Bridgerton is based on. But be prepared to wait, because there's only like a couple things left in the system, but it might change, you know. I think those books are going to get a little revamp. So anyways, this one, it says on it, the Bridgertons know the Smiths. Do you? She might not be who she says she is, but Anne Winter is managing quite well as governess to 3 high-born young ladies. Her job can be a challenge. In a single week, she finds herself hiding in a closet full of tubas, playing an evil queen in a play that might be tragedy or might be a comedy. No one is sure. And tending to the wounds of the oh-so-dashing Earl of Winstead. After years of dodging unwanted advances, she's the first man that has truly tempted her, and it's getting harder and harder to remind herself that a governess has no business flirting with a nobleman. He might be in mortal danger, but that's not going to stop David Smith from falling in love. And when the young Earl spies a mysterious woman at his family's annual musicale, he vows to pursue her, even if that means spending his days with a 10-year-old who thinks she's a unicorn. But Daniel has an enemy, one who has vowed to see him dead. And when Anne is thrown in peril, he will stop at nothing to ensure their happy ending. So, yes, lots of old-timey kings and queens and duchesses.
Okay, and my first pick today is the Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang, and this is 3.88 rating on Goodreads. I had to rely on Goodreads because I'm not a big romance reader, so I went out there and kind of looked at what were the most popular romance reads in the last couple of years. So this is a heartwarming and refreshing debut novel that proves one thing: there's not enough data in the world to predict what will make your heart tick. Stella Lane, our main character, thinks math is the only thing that unites the universe. She comes up with algorithms to predict customer purchases, a job that has given her more money than she knows what to do with, and way less experience in the dating department than the average 30-year-old. It doesn't help that Stella has Asperger's, and French kissing reminds her of a shark getting his teeth cleaned. Her conclusion is she needs lots of practice, with a professional, hopefully. So she hires an escort, Michael Phan. The Vietnamese and Swedish stunner can't afford to turn down Stella's offer and agrees to help her check off all the boxes on her lesson plan. Before long, Stella not only learns to appreciate him, but to crave all other things as far as romance goes. Soon their no-nonsense partnership starts making a strange kind of sense to the two of them, and the pattern that emerges will convince Stella that love is the best kind of logic. So read this story and see how this all turns out.
Getting a good rating on Goodreads is tough, too. They're tough.
Yeah.
It's tough critics out there. Okay, this is Our Souls at Night by Kent Haruf, which I actually have read. It's very, very good. There's also a movie on this out there that was made in 2017, but as usual, the book is better. This is the story of a man and woman who, in advanced age, come together to wrestle with the events of their lives and their hopes for the imminent future. Addie Moore pays an unexpected visit to a neighbor, Lewis Waters. Her husband died years ago, as did his wife, and in such a small town, they naturally have known each other for decades. In fact, Addie was quite fond of Lewis's wife. His daughter lives hours away in Colorado Springs, her son even further away in Grand Junction, and Addie and Lewis have long been living alone in houses now empty of family, and nights so terribly lonely, especially with no one to talk to. They start visiting each other at night, sharing the good things and the difficulties, and making a human connection. So you're never too old for romance.
I read that one. I liked that book a lot.
Very good.
My second pick is Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. This was a 4.02 rating on Goodreads. Cassie Hanwell was born for emergencies. She's one of the only female firefighters in her Texas firehouse. She's seen her fair share of fires, and she's excellent at dealing with other people's tragedies. But when her estranged and ailing mom asks her to uproot her life and move to Boston, it's an emergency of a kind Cassie never anticipated. The tough, old-school Boston firehouse is a lot different from Cassie's old job. Hazing, a lack of funding, and poor facilities mean that the firemen aren't exactly thrilled to have a lady on their crew, even one as competent and smart as Cassie. Except for one, the handsome rookie who doesn't seem to mind having Cassie around. But she can't think about that because she doesn't fall in love. And because of the advice her old captain gave her, don't date firefighters. Cassie can feel her resolve slipping, but will she jeopardize her place in a career where she's worked so hard to be taken seriously? Catherine Center's Things You Save in a Fire is a heartfelt, affecting novel about life, love, and the true meaning of courage.
Firefighters. This one is Love Lettering by Kate Claiborne. Meg Mackworth's hand lettering skill has made her famous as a planner of Park Slope, designing beautiful custom journals for New York City elite. She has another skill too, reading signs that other people miss, like the time she sat across from Reed Sutherland and his gorgeous fiancé and knew their upcoming marriage was doomed to fail. Weaving a secret word into their wedding program was a little unprofessional, but she was sure no one else would spot it. She hadn't counted on the sharp-eyed, pattern-obsessed Reed. A year later, Reed has tracked Meg down to find out, before she leaves New York for good, how she knew that his meticulously planned future was about to implode. But with a looming deadline, a fractured friendship, and a bad case of creative block, Meg doesn't have time for Reed's questions, unless he can help her find her missing inspiration. As they gradually open up to each other about their lives, works, and regrets, both try to ignore the fact that their unlikely connection is growing deeper. But the signs are there, irresistible, indisputable, urging Meg to heed the messages Reed is sending her before it's too late.
I think that's the one that's going to be the February Libby book club pick.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it is.
Got a sneak peek here.
My third pick is a Nicholas Sparks. Can't really have romance without a Nicholas Sparks book, so I have Every Breath. This was a 4.02 rating on Goodreads. This is also one I have read. In the romantic tradition of The Notebook, best-selling author Nicholas Sparks returns with a story, this time about a chance encounter that becomes a touchstone for two vastly different people, transcending decades, continents, and the bittersweet workings of fate. Hope Anderson is at a crossroads. At 36, she's been dating her boyfriend, an orthopedic surgeon, for 6 years, but with no wedding plans in sight and her father recently diagnosed with ALS, she decides to use a week at her family's cottage in Sunset Beach, North Carolina, to ready the house for sale and mull over some difficult decisions about what her future will hold. Our second main character, True Walls, has never visited North Carolina, but is summoned to Sunset Beach by a letter from a man claiming to be his father. He's a safari guide born and raised in Zimbabwe. True hopes to unravel some of the mysteries surrounding his mother's early life and recapture memories lost with her death. When these two strangers pass across, their connection is as electric as it is unfathomable. But in the immersive days that follow, their feelings for each other will give ways to choices that pit family duty against personal happiness in devastating ways. So this book asks the question, how long can a dream survive? So Nicholas Sparks, Every Breath.
Nicholas Sparks is pretty much a guaranteed of a good read.
Good romance writer.
So I've seen this book everywhere, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. It was actually on a lot of lists for the best of 2020. It almost made that list, but not yet quite. It is a kind of a royal romance, but set in America, so our royalty. First son, Alex Claremont Diaz, is the closest thing to a prince this side of the Atlantic. With his intrepid sister and the Veep's genius granddaughter, they're the White House trio, a beautiful millennial marketing strategy for his mother, President Ellen Claremont. International socialite duties do have downsides, namely when photos of a confrontation with his longtime nemesis, Prince Henry, at a royal wedding leak to the tabloids and threaten American-British relations. The plan for damage control, staging a fake friendship between the first son and the prince. As President Claremont kicks off her re-election bid, Alex finds himself hurling into a secret relationship with Henry that could derail the campaign and upend two nations. What is worth the sacrifice? How do you do all the good you can do? And most importantly, how will history remember you? This one was rated a 4.24 on Goodreads, so people
cool.
like it.
Yeah, it's a popular one. My fourth pick for today for romance is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, 3.86 rating on Goodreads. In this book, Chloe Brown is a chronically ill computer geek with a goal, a plan, and a list. After almost but not quite dying, she's come up with 7 directives to help her get a life, and she's already completed the first, finally moving out of her glamorous family's mansion. The next items: enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaningless but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, and do something bad. But it's not easy being bad, even when you've written step-by-step guidelines on how to do it correctly. What she needs is a teacher, and she knows just the man for the job. Red Morgan is a handyman with tattoos, a motorcycle, and more sex appeal than 10,000 Hollywood heartthrobs. He's also an artist who paints at night and hides his work in the light of day, which Chloe knows because she spies on him occasionally, just the tiniest bit to see what he's up to. But when she enlists Red in her mission to rebel, she learns things about him that no spy session could teach her, like why he clearly resents Chloe's wealthy background and why he never shows his art to anyone, and what really lies beneath his rough exterior. So in order to learn more about this relationship, check out this book.
My last pick today is The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. I really like the cover of this one. It looks so Valentine's Day. Carrie Douglas has worked for home remodeling and design gurus Melissa and Rusty Tripp for nearly a decade. A country girl at heart, Carrie started in their first store at 16, and more than anyone would suspect, has helped them build an empire. With a new show and a book about to launch, the Tripps are on the verge of a superstardom. There's only one problem. America's favorite couple can't stand each other. James McCann, MIT graduate and engineering genius, was originally hired as a structural engineer, but the job isn't all he thought it would be. The last straw, both he and Carrie must go on a book tour with the Tripps to keep the wheels from falling off the proverbial bus. Unfortunately, neither of them is in any position to quit. Carrie needs health insurance, and James has been promised the role of a lifetime if he could just keep the couple on track for a few more weeks. While road tripping with the Tripps up the West Coast, Carrie and James vow to work together to keep their boss's secrets hidden and their own jobs secure. But if they stop playing along and start playing for keeps, they may have a chance to build something beautiful together.
Aww. And my last pick for today is In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, 3.85 on Goodreads. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? When type A Manhattan lawyer Danny Cohen is asked this question at the most important interview of her career, she has a well-crafted answer at the ready. Later, after nailing her interview and accepting her boyfriend's marriage proposal, she goes to sleep knowing she is on the right track to achieve her 5-year plan. But when she wakes up, she's suddenly in a different apartment with a different ring on her finger and beside a very different man. The television news is on in the background, and she can just make out the scrolling date. It's the same night, December 15th, but 2025, 5 years in the future. After a very intense, shocking hour, Danny wakes again at the brink of midnight, right back in 2020. She can't shake what has happened. It certainly felt much more than merely a dream, but she isn't the kind of person who believes in this kind of things and visions. That nonsense is only charming coming from free-spirited types like her lifelong best friend Bella. Determined to ignore her odd experience, she files it away in the back of her mind. That is, until 4.5 years later, when by chance, Danny meets the very same man from her long ago vision. In 5 Years is an unforgettable love story that reminds us of the power of loyalty, friendship, and the unpredictable nature of destiny.
I like those time travel things. Thanks for watching. We hope this helped you find some romantic reads for your next read.
And don't forget to like or share our video. Comment below to let us know what you're reading. We're always interested. If you've got a great read you'd recommend. Thank you all for watching, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Bye.